Hello, hello, my dear friends, you've reached Elena's bar. The best place on the internet, the very best by far. She'll help improve your fitness, but there's also so much more. 'Cause here are just a few things that this channel has in store. There's barre and there's Pilates and there's belly dancing too. And many styles of yoga, so I'm sure there's one for you. Then watch her practice piano string from right within her home. She's in such big condition, she'll outrun the metronome. Elena's Barre, Elena's Barre. They're the best place on the internet, the very best by far. It's not just the piano, but the ukulele too. The guitar and violin are even more that she can do. She does so many different things, it's hard not to lose track. I nearly didn't mention that she posts on her Substack. Elena's Barre, Elena's Barre. The best place on the internet, the very best by far. Yet controversial topics may be brought up for discussion, but try not to provoke her or she'll swear at you in Russian. And sometimes certain topics can make quite a big impression. So remember, you take part at your own risk and your discretion. Yeah, Elena's Barre, Elena's Barre. The best place on the internet, the very best by far. You might even meet Elena if you're quite a loyal fan. She's got a fixed male cat, but she's so desperate for a man. We've really got it all, then you couldn't ask for more. So sit right back and watch Elena shave a 3 or 4. Elena's Barre, Elena's Barre. The best place on the internet, the very best by far.
Hello, hello, my dear friends. Welcome back to Elena's Barre, low impact full body workouts. I'm with the Resurgence of Sanity guys today, and we are talking about the outcomes of feminism in different countries. We actually are going to have a guest speaker later today, but we need to start the topic. So let's begin with some articles from Russia to see who the custody goes to, the custody for kids, what are the impacts of feminism on the Russian culture. And guys, I've been sharing with you some videos that my dad was sending to me, so you can get an idea that it's pretty wild in there. And yeah, guys, have you seen those videos?
I watched a couple.
Did you like them?
Yeah, well, I didn't learn anything new. Women are the same all over.
I know, right?
Well, no, they're not the same. Some places are worse.
I was going to say, she's made me watch all of them, so.
I know. Well, I just want you to see how Russian men talk to Russian women. It's
Plutarch,
different.
Have you learned anything about how you should treat your wife?
Have I learned anything? Well, I kind of already knew that, and I was kind of already doing that. But if you want to be with a cute Russian girl, there's things you've got to do.
True. Yeah, we talked about Passport Bros last week, guys. You can go watch that live stream too after watching this one. Because a lot of men think that somehow these Eastern European women or Asian women are so much better than the Western women, and it's not true. It's not true. So guys, yeah, if you have any comments, questions, send us a comment in the chat. We will bring your comments up. If you have questions for the panel, also tell us. And yeah, let's get into
let me say something. Okay, I don't really know much about Eastern women, but let me propose this, and you can agree or disagree. Yeah, if you get us a woman from a place that has not been westernized, theoretically, she might be a bit more traditional.
Mhm.
But if she comes from a society where men are more masculine,
Mhm.
her ability to covertly manipulate is that much stronger. So she might be better in some aspects, but in other aspects, she is more resourceful. So if you go to the big cities, those women have manipulation skills probably more advanced than American women. But at the same time, they might be a little bit more traditional. But in order to manage those women, your level of masculinity is going to have to be higher than the average American man. So are they better women? Yes and no. But in general, they're no different.
Yeah, I think it's the men that make those women even to appear to be more feminine or better because of the restrictions that these women have and because of how the men in those countries treat their women.
So would you agree men in those countries are more skilled at putting a woman in her place?
Yes, 100%.
Yeah. Okay, that might be a not very politically correct way of saying it. But guys, if you're going to go over there and do the passport bro thing, you better learn how to put a woman in her place because those women really expect it. And if you don't, you're going to get run over like
They will
stepping in
never.
front of a steamroller.
Okay, Steve, something that might confuse men who are thinking of doing the passport bro thing is women will never admit that they want it in a man. This is why they are looking outside because they think that the grass is greener on the other side, right? Men are better here, they are more civilized, they are politer and nicer to women than those men in their cultures. But yeah, they expect that kind of attitude from men deep inside.
You know, I cannot tell you how many times I have read stories, particularly back when I was researching the visa stuff, of guys who would go to, for whatever reason, this came out of Latin America a lot, but they would go down to Latin America, they would import a pretty hot, Colombian or Brazilian, occasionally the Argentinian chick. I mean, these chicks are gorgeous and they know it. And then they get into the United States and these chicks turn into little demons.
Mm-hmm.
They start walking all over the guys, telling him what he's going to do. And the guys just sit there and they turn into these little soft puppets for
Yeah,
these women. And these women love it
at
because
the beginning.
well,
Mhm.
no, these women love it. Like, I mean, yes, eventually they're going to divorce the guy because he's a weak man and a path to a green card.
Mm-hmm.
But they like the fact that he's a weak guy because so many of the men in their own country would never let them get away with what they are actually doing to these American men. So, guys, one of the things about being a passport bro, the men you're competing with compared to the men in the United States are far better at dealing with women. You
Yeah,
have to be that much better.
true. So true. Well, okay, guys, let's look into some statistics. It's hard to call it statistics, really. These are just a few articles that I translated a while ago, and we are going to look through them, okay? And then we will look at how women behave in different countries also. So, yeah, let me share this. Okay, let me go back to the article actually so that I'm going to give you the source where you can read the article if you happen to read Russian. So Family Pravo Legal, you can check it. So in case of divorce, parents need to decide who has custody over a child. If a couple is raising their biological kids, divorce is only possible through the court order. The judge, before the verdict, is only concerned about where the kids stay. Okay, the determining factors of residence of a minor. Let me scroll through them. In case of divorce, parents can negotiate where kids stay. According to the Family Code of Russian Federation, page 65, paragraph 3, if there is no disagreement, then oral agreement is enough. The judge will confirm the decision. And this is just a few facts. You can find them by yourself if you want to. Okay, to avoid arguments and disagreements associated with raising kids, the order of communication and location or residence of the child, parents can conduct a written agreement. This agreement includes the following. Okay, who the kid is staying with, a schedule and ways of communication of the parent who lives apart. You tell me if it sounds familiar to here to the US, okay? Notification of parent who lives apart about important events pertinent to the kids, then reasons for divorce and other conditions if they concern kids' interests. Okay, the law doesn't mandate a notary stamp, so it can be just a written agreement between the two parents. Signatures of a father and a mother and the date of agreement are enough. It's recommended to involve the notary. This document will hold power in case of disagreements. It's all on paper, okay, guys? This is something also to keep in mind that it sounds awesome. Like it sounds that divorce is such a great idea in Russia, you know? When parents can't negotiate the terms orally or by written agreement, the court gets involved. Any parent can appeal, sorry, typo here, even if they agreed about kids' custody before. Okay, let's see here. If parents don't have disagreements regarding the residence of their kids, they can resolve it through magistrate's court. Okay. The judge will separate them, determine alimony and residence of the minors. In case of any disagreements among spouses, and if they are dividing property valued over 50,000 rubles, they should resolve it through the district court. Okay. Checking in here. Okay. In addition to the other requirements, reason, proposal, date, etc., additional information is required. Okay. Okay. Income certificates. Okay. IRS. Then property documents. I put it in red because it's actually important. It involves the financial state. Then work certificate with testimonials. This will determine where the kid will be better placed, okay? And then certificate of accommodation, conditions from the social services representatives or guardianship authorities, payment of government services, of course. Then the cost of government services is 300 rubles. Sounds cheap, right? If the kid stays with the plaintiff, the amount will be later paid by the defendant. Okay, in case of the minors, social services representatives of the guardianship authorities are always present during the court proceedings. Be prepared for a lengthy multi-month process. Witnesses might be invited. Okay, here is another, yes, it's the same article, it's just continuing. What is court paying attention to when taking decision? Okay. The judge operates in the interests of the kid, but really, the material situation of the parents matters, but it's not the determining factor. In the courtroom, the summary of social services guardianship authorities, including the following information: characteristics of checked property accommodation, its suitability for a child, the level of emotional and psychological attachment of the minor towards the family members, parents, brothers, sisters, etc. Conclusion of preferred residence of the child. How much does the US court pay attention to the level of emotional and psychological attachment? I'm just curious.
Huge. But
Huge.
it's all determined by the guardian ad litem,
Of course.
the social workers who generally work for women.
Yeah, I know, right? Same here. Same here, guys. The judge can order medical, psychological expertise in which they will find out the occurrence of any psychic or psychological problems of the kid and her parents, how she or he is attached to his mother, father, and other relatives. Do they do it here as well?
Oh, yes.
Yes. Okay.
I can tell you this. First marriage, I had nasty allegations. So I had to go through and be evaluated, including a psychosexual evaluation.
Wow.
It came out that there was no issues there. So it didn't prove her allegations. So how is that presented to the court? Not that he doesn't have that. It's just that her allegations remain unproven, but her concerns are still valid. Therefore, they were looking for a smoking gun against me, but it was impossible to prove that it was bullshit. You can't prove yourself innocent, in other words.
I see. Oh my gosh.
And it's unnecessary for her to prove the man guilty because her feelings are important enough that, female judges are, and even male judges are going to take that into account. So there is no defense against her feelings.
Of course not. Yeah. Well, I see so many movies, guys. I've been watching some, and I can tell you one thing. They don't know how to make good movies anymore. All of these romantic comedies, they're just full of shit, honestly. They show the single mothers, how the father, like the guy is falling in love with the single mother, and then he gets attached to the child. And so many Russian comedies, modern comedies are like that. Like they don't write good stories anymore. In comparison to some old Soviet comedies that I really loved watching and rewatching, this is just bullshit. Okay, not good movies out there. Okay, here as a rule, kids usually stay with the mother, especially if it involves babies and if the mother doesn't have antisocial lifestyle. Okay. If a kid has already reached the age of 10, the judge will inquire his or her opinion to determine the verdict. In some cases, a kid can be even younger. Okay, here it's an interesting fact. Today, I'm going to show you the video that I saw by the lawyer where she was saying that the police, and it happened here in the US, the police was trying to take away a 14-year-old child from the mother because the child, as it turned out, decided she wanted to be with the father. But then she said that, but if she had the court order and certain documents, then she could have taken the child, which tells me that they are not really that concerned about who the child wants to stay with. We will watch that video. It's an interesting one. Okay. Then answers to frequently asked questions. Does kid's opinion matter? Yes, if he or she has reached 10 years old. Guys, we are looking at the Russian divorce court here. Okay, so those of you who are joining now, it's how it's supposed to be working in Russia. Okay. In practice, it's a totally different story. He or she will be asked in court whom he or she wants to stay with, but his or her opinion is not the only determining factor. Okay, let's look into this. Um, in a divorce case, the residence of the minor child is always considered in court. Okay. Who gets custody of kids in general, a mother or a father? In over 80%, I hear the echo, of cases, kids are left with the mother. It's a global practice. The younger the child, the higher the chance of this child staying with the mother.
Okay, compare that to the U.S., and
Mhm.
I will go with what Terrence Pop from Redonkulous has said. And he's done statistics or looked into this. I think he says, and Plutarch can correct me, like 85% of the time the woman gets custody.
Mhm.
Something like 8%. Okay, of that 15% where men get custody, that 8%, the women never show up to contest it.
Oh,
And in 7% of the time, when she's contesting it, the man is given custody.
I see.
So, yeah, that means if she contests it and argues, she's going to get custody, well over 90% of the time.
Yeah. It's actually, there is a different source. I'm going to show you a different article. They all circle around about the same number, but that one actually shows how often dads get custody over kids. We will look into it, okay?
So,
Uh,
guys, if you're going to marry,
yeah.
you should actually marry a documented crack whore
Mhm.
because she's got to be that bad for you to get custody of the kids.
I
Yeah,
was just going to say something like that to the
exactly.
effect of the only women who don't get their kids are the ones who have been convicted of hard drug
Felony.
abuses.
Yeah, or felony or something else. Yeah.
Yeah, like okay, she kills somebody. Okay, she's
Mhm.
going to jail. She can't take care of the kid, right? Like that's kind of how the courts the courts treat it as if the only reason that a mother should not get the child is because she's physically incarcerated somewhere else and
Yeah,
cannot take care of the child. Other than that, mom gets the child.
exactly. Nick is saying hi to all of us. Thank you,
Go on,
Nick,
Ed.
for stopping by. We miss you today. Okay. Yeah. It's just crazy. And here there is another article that dives into it, how hard it is for the father actually to prove that the mother is psychic. We will get into that one. Okay. This is just the basics. Okay. Here, the unsatisfied party can appeal the court's decision by applying complaints within 1 month. This complaint appeal is being sent to the court that determined that unsatisfying verdict. Makes sense, right? Can a court determine the residency of a child not with the parents but with close relatives like grandmother or grandfather? Yes, it happens. If it corresponds to the interests of the child. For example, when one parent is lacking legal capacity and the other parent, under any reason, can't raise child. Okay. And then conclusion. It's important to determine the residency of the child in case of divorce. This question is resolved via mutual agreement or through court. When taking a decision, the judge is concerned about the interests of the children. But like they always hide under the interests of the children, but like, are they really doing it? Fathers or mothers' maternal situation matters. Fathers or mothers' material situation matters, but it's not the determining factor. When a kid reaches a certain age, his or her opinion will be included just as much as his or her psychological attachment to the relatives. Look, if a father spends most of the time working and the mother spends most of the time with the kid, you realize, right, whom the kid will want to stay with, whom he or she will be more attached.
Sure, that's
Right.
obvious.
So yeah, I know that this article seems to be quite optimistic in terms of how the divorce situation resolves. Um, Yeah. But in reality, kids are likely to be brainwashed by the mother and other institutions like schools, classmates, teachers, society, TV, also against the father. There is a lot of that. Oh, he's such a moron. He's such an imbecile.
Right. Okay. Let me say one thing. At the very beginning, it gave me hope. They talked about they have to negotiate. If they're getting divorced, the husband and wife have to negotiate who gets the kids, orally or written.
Mm-hmm.
At least they're talking about that. Now, obviously, it doesn't fucking matter because have you ever tried to negotiate with a woman?
Yeah.
Good luck. You're never gonna. You can't. So
Mhm.
it probably is just bullshit. But at least they're paying a little bit of lip service to the thought of negotiating. That's
Yeah.
not anywhere existent in the U.S. But in the end, does it really matter if the outcome is the same?
Yeah.
Well, Steve, notice the final disposition numbers. 80%
Right.
end up with the mother. So, like, it's just like here. They pay a lot of words to the mutual rights of both the mother and the father,
Mhm.
but the actual data tells you what's really going to happen. And this is why whenever we talk, we have such a focus on the data, because you can read these long, flowery articles and then, 80% of the time it goes to the mom anyway. Okay, all the
Exactly.
flowery bullshit was for
Exactly.
nothing.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
see, women have a different, they make up their own definition of words.
yeah. Mhm.
In my first marriage, in the divorce process, yeah, there was a guardian ad litem looking out for the best interests of the kids. I couldn't get along with her because, she was a battle axe and restricting me and all that. So what did the guardian ad litem say? Well, you two need to compromise.
Yeah.
Okay, what does that mean? It means I need to accommodate her every time. If I'm not accommodating my ex-wife, I'm being stubborn, and therefore it's my problem. Or the problem is me. Yeah, that's exactly how it is. Compromise, that concept has zero meaning to women. Compromise means she says what her feelings are, and the man is not allowed to push back and make her feel bad or negate her feelings.
Yeah.
Is it the same in Russia?
It's very hard to fight the emotional mothers who believe that they have the right, who believe that they are entitled to their kids just because they gave birth to their children. Yeah. The custody, and I even talked to the lawyer. He told me that, yeah, in most cases, in reality, the custody goes to the mother. There are certain exceptions, but it's like case by case, individual, and yeah, in most cases, it's going to be to go to the mother. And also keep in mind that statistically there are more women in Russia than men, so chances of single mothers they are very, very high. Pretty much every other woman that you meet is going to have a child, and she's going to be a single mother. Okay, let's remove this one. We will move on to the next one. We are moving pretty quickly through these ones. Let's check the next article. Let me open it. I wonder why my statistical analysis opens with these ones every time I try to open a document. Okay, let me share it. Hold on, guys. We are doing it live. So 1 second. 1 second. Okay. Here is another article. Let me zoom it a little bit. Can you see it, guys?
Not yet, because you haven't shared it on screen.
Sorry. I keep forgetting. Okay. Okay. Is it better? Can you see it? Or
Yeah, now I can see it.
Okay. So this is from isk1.ru. website. You can check it. Yeah, this article contains similar information to the Family Bravo article. So I'll only include additional points about the court procedure and alimony. I think this one actually gets into the numbers. Okay. We are going to have fun with this one. So yeah, the determining factors who the minor stays with, the age of the child, who is the child more attached to, sounds familiar, right, with the previous article. Does the child have brothers, sisters, or what are her relationships with the family members? What are the moral qualities of the parents, like education, work, occupation? Yeah, I'm picking on the language. Yeah. Having high status and education is moral, right? Okay, let's see here. What's the relationship of each parent to the kid? Fulfilling the parenthood duties, understanding of the child, and then can a parent provide the child with suitable conditions for raising, education, and development, time, occupation at work? So they are checking into mom's or dad's work schedule, free time, material situation, existence of new family, and so on. Yeah, because of the fact that many men, they remarry in Russia, the kid could be going to the father and to the new family. That could be the case, but it's very rare. It doesn't happen often. So how is the provided accommodation characterized? Private playroom or a study place in the apartment, proximity to the school, kindergarten, hospital, etc. Ecological and criminogenic situation. Okay. The answers to these questions must be provided by both parents, and the guardianship authorities will either confirm or refute their accuracy. Okay, can a husband take kids' custody? Cases when court determines the custody goes to the father are very rare. It's no more than 6 or 7% of arguing cases about kids. In most cases, the custody for kids goes to the mother. The lawyer.
Okay, hold on. That's very similar to the U.S.
Yeah.
And the numbers I just stated with Terrence Pop. 7% of the time, the father wins.
Yeah.
8% of the time, the woman doesn't show up. Therefore, yeah, okay, he wins or he wins by default 15% of the time. It's not much different in Russia.
Yeah. And the lawyer even came up with 2 reasons why the court takes woman's side. Okay, let's check into the corruption of the lawyers here. The first reason is, okay, let me scroll here. Because most judges about civil cases are women. Shocker, right?
Damn right.
They are close to female position of the mother. And then secondly, because the fathers are not thriving to take the burden of living with the kids. Oh my gosh. Fathers are horrible, right? I hear this narrative from so many women, even that debate between Andrew Wilson and this Mahlesh girl. I don't know her full name. She was saying, but a lot of fathers, they don't want to deal with their kids. Okay, here you go. Often wealthy men fight for their rights for kids in court, as he won't raise his kids himself. They will be raised by nannies and service personnel. And this is probably a good way to hurt his ex-wife. Oh, look how much revenge.
Why is a man wealthy? Because he works. He earns it. He's got things to do to provide for his family. How the hell is he going to stay home and raise the kids and not make money? That's only possible if there's a wealth transfer from his spouse to him. Oh, wait, that only works in one direction.
Mm-hmm. And also, notice here, I pointed out there is so much victimology. It's not that he can afford a better living because he works, right? He can afford a better life for his children. It's his incapability of raising kids by himself without the woman and relying on nannies, relying on other service personnel. The fact that a woman relies on the government and school as a childcare system is not mentioned here.
It sounds way too much to me that the problem is not with the country, but with how we humans think about women.
Mm-hmm.
Because this could be lifted and shifted straight out of the United States, and it would just look the same.
Yep.
So, okay, that brings me to a question that I was going to ask, and this is the perfect time to ask it. Is this a problem just in Western countries? Feminism results in this? Oh, because we are capitalists, it results in this? Or does it happen in socialist countries? Or, Russia is semi-capitalist, but a bit more socialist. They're maybe a flavor of communism, but I wouldn't call them communist. Does this happen in China, where it's communist? Does this happen in countries that have, Middle East or Muslim countries, where it's more of a top-down structure, fascist, Islamic, whatever? Is it the same everywhere, regardless of your political ideology or economic ideology?
Yeah.
Well, I haven't studied Islamic Middle
We
Eastern
actually
culture
have
too much,
we
but
actually have a guest who is waiting. Hold on, I'm going to share the link, but we are not quite done here with Russia yet. Okay, hold on.
Well, invite him in and tell him to be quiet until you're done.
Okay, I will. Hold on. Yes, Shabir, we know that you are here. Thank you for joining us. Hold on. Copy the link. Here you go, because I didn't email it to him. Okay. Cool. Yeah. So you can see that it's pretty much the same everywhere. But I'll be curious to talk about the Muslim country, about Shabir too. Okay. So what to do if one parent stole a child? How often does it happen here in the US? I'm just curious. In this case, unfortunately, there is nothing you can do, as according to the Article 61 of the Family Code of the Russian Federation, both parents have equal rights and take accountability and responsibility for their children. That's why a kid being stolen by a parent can't be considered as kidnapping. They give you a little hope here. So even if the court order determines where the child stays, technically another parent could still steal a child. Okay, here. If a mother has a decent personality, she works and can provide for her kid with all the necessary things, and her ex-husband is not oligarch, then there is nothing to worry about. The kid will stay with the mother. Oh, do you see this? Unless you are a Russian oligarch and you have resources to fight for your kids, sounds very similar to the situation here in the West, right? Uh, Usually the custody goes to the mother. And notice, oh, don't worry, don't worry, lady, the custody will be yours. I translated it as accurately as I could, guys. And here, let me see. Okay. Okay, now the size of the alimony. Parents can negotiate the amount of the alimony among themselves. This agreement is signed at the notary office. If they can't negotiate, then this decision is determined by court. Alimony constitutes 25% of earnings of one parent for one child, 33% for 2 kids, 50% for over 3 kids. It can be altered in the material circumstances change for all parties. It can be monthly payments, or if it's hard to determine the earnings, if they come in a foreign currency, it can be one-time payment. Is it similar to the US?
It's hard to say. In general, those percentages are probably in the same ballpark. It's all in the details of how it's enacted.
Yeah.
And in the US, yeah, they got some limits, but in practice, they can easily exceed those limits by imputing income to the father. Well, yeah, he's actually making only 60,000, but one time he made $100,000, and we determined that he's capable of making 100,000, regardless whether the economic situation has changed or the economy has changed. Therefore, we're going to set it based on that percentage. And it's women judges typically who do this. Women can't math.
Yeah. They really can't.
Well, what was that whole girl math trend we had last year? I mean, I'm not kidding. I'm just saying. And notice how with girl math, the math was always beneficial to the woman. The women can actually do math, but they take the facts and rationality of math and they fuse it with their emotions. So you would always hear the women say, well, I feel good about this math. They know it's bunk, but they fuse it with their feelings to make their obviously wrong math okay.
Yeah. Well, the one-time alimony payment happens in case of unstable salary. Earnings are paid in foreign currency. Earnings in other income are missing. Can't determine the share of the earnings, and this violates the kids' rights. Okay, sorry guys. Okay, that's it. Okay, let me share with you. Okay, Shabir is here. Hold on. Hi, Shabir. Great to see you.
Hi, fantastic being here, guys. Great meeting everybody.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for coming. Yeah, have you seen the videos that the Resurgence of Sanity guys have been doing, or you didn't have a chance yet?
Which video, sorry?
On the Resurgence of Sanity. These are the guys that I have here with me.
Oh, of course. Yeah, I just joined this, so I just got to meet you guys, and I've been hearing for the past half an hour too. So I mean, I gotta.
Well, okay, let me just do a little bit of recap.
Sure.
In general, of what is going on here. So there's a channel called The Resurgence of Sanity. And there's 3 of us guys, me, Plutarch, and Nick Barnes. And we post there, and we do a recording or a show every Wednesday night. We talk about a lot of different topics, red pill issues, men's issues, all kinds of stuff, and explore controversial topics. Elena is married to Plutarch, and she has this show, Elena's Bar Fitness, and she touches on somewhat similar topics on Wednesday or on Saturday morning.
Mhm.
So it's kind of goes back and forth, and she participates, but we don't let her on screen on the men's discussions.
That's fine.
So when she talks about, have you seen the resurgence stuff? Well, it's on a different channel.
Yeah, it's on a different channel, guys.
But I don't know if Shabir knew that, but maybe
No, I
some of our
just
audience
found
didn't
out
know.
about Elena's the live stream, and she told me just a week ago, and I saw her come on Pearl Daily, so I thought, okay, why not? Like I absolutely would love to talk about what's going on in our
In
our
your
sphere.
culture. Well, let's finish first. Okay, I have the third article
ahead,
for
yeah.
you. Okay, we will take a moment to sneak into this one, and then we will move on to your culture, because I'm really curious and I want to share with you a couple of videos. We are not going to watch all of them, but there are a few videos here, guys, that we want to react. Okay, so 1 second. Let me open it, because there is another article here. This one is kind of more realistic. I kind of liked it more than the other ones. Okay. Let's see here. Cool. You can see it, right? Okay, shall I zoom it a little bit?
Show it first.
Oh, 1 second. Yes. Sorry, guys. I'm so sorry. I keep forgetting. It used to be automatic that I would open it and then it would show right away. Okay. So this one is from pravo.ru website. And here you go. In most cases, the kids stay with the mother, but fathers have a small chance of winning the custody residency of the kids. The lawyers say that the courts are willing to protect husbands if immediately after separation the kids stayed with the father. So right before divorce, if kids were staying with the father, right? Kids' opinion also matters, but only if he or she turns 10 years old. Okay, it kind of matches what the other sources say too. It's harder for husbands to prove that the mother has antisocial personality and lifestyle because they need to, sorry guys, lots of typos here. They need the hospital certificates which are not likely to be issued to the ex-husbands. Oh, here you go. Like I said before, it's going to be hard for the father to prove that the mother of his children has antisocial personality disorder. Okay, based on the article 61 of the Family Code of Russian Federation, both parents have equal rights to raise mutual kids. Despite this fact, the courts tend to protect the mothers and leave the kids to live with them. There is no official statistics. This one is actually from a legitimate lawyer. There is no official statistics, but it's considered that 94 or 95% of cases benefit the mothers, says Natalia Patseva. Okay. Even for trustworthy fathers, it can be difficult to influence the courts, says Sofia Volkova. These are lawyers, I think. I did research a long time ago, so I don't remember the details, but as far as I understood, they were lawyers. Based on her words, the courts blindly trust that the child should be with the mother. They can separate the kid from the mother in extreme cases when kid's life is in danger, she says. Okay. Then Patsiva mentions that the tendencies have been slightly shifting. Fathers started having more custody of kids. Then the other lady confirms it. if before kids were left with the father in 1 or 2% of cases, now it's 5 or 6% of cases. Again, in comparison to 94, 95% of custody that mothers get, it's still very low, right? Then Patsiva mentions that there are also regional differences in the regions. The Northern Caucasian, the custody of kids going to the father is higher than on average in Russia. In Ingushetia, for example, last year the fathers could get more custody for their kids in the following cases. Okay, they list the cases here. In all of these divorces, disagreements, the kids stayed with the fathers and mothers didn't appeal. Okay. But it also has to do with the culture in those regions. The most challenging cases are when a mother has a moral or antisocial lifestyle. The burden to prove it lays on the father, since court needs serious evidence that discredit the identity. For example, that a minor can be harmed in the house place of the mother. Patsiva says that this can be proven with medical documents, often medical or illness related to severe psychic mental disorders, alcoholism, and drug use. She also points out that the fathers have to collect all of this evidence. To get these documents is very hard because the law doesn't have the norm under which medical institutions can reveal the following documents to the father. Wow. So much court concern of kids' well-being that they are reluctant to involve the guardianship social authorities to pursue those documents, right? Okay. Then Patsiva also says that witnesses' testimony can be helpful in confirming that the mother has aggressive attitude towards the child, or if she commits abuse. There are no specific documents that the court requires, so Patsiva suggests her solution. Kids' school certificate, testimony from teachers, from which it will be clear who participates more in the kid's life. But then again, most teachers in Russia are also women, so they will pander to women, right? Yeah, this is what I mentioned here. Okay, certificate of your own apartment, property, testimony from the place of work, certificate confirming stable income, witnesses' testimony, then conclusion of an expert psychologist confirming attachment of the kid towards the father. Yeah, basically, if you have resources to bribe all of the institutions, you can get away with it, right? You can get the custody for your kids. Father's welfare is not always a determining factor as much as poor financial situation of the mother. Wow.
Okay. Yes. Okay, I want to talk about that one right there.
Mm-hmm.
So we're headed into probably a recession. Things are going to get dicey in this country, and women are going to lose jobs. They're already losing jobs. Not so much men this time. So women are in dire financial straits. So if you're married, dual income, and you go to court, yeah, and the man still has a job, the woman doesn't. Man, is he going to do better? No. Nope. Because the state is concerned with the well-being of the mother, and her well-being is going to require a wealth transfer from the working man to the woman, because that's just how people survive. So even though she might be unemployed and he might be employed, that's not in favor of the man. It just points out the greater need of the woman to have the kids, so to enable the money to go to her so she can survive. And that's what that last sentence basically said.
Mhm.
If a woman's need outweighs the man's abilities.
Yeah, because she can use her kids to get more money from the man.
Oh, you mean like they do here?
Yeah. It's just crazy. It's like why should men get married when they know that this is coming for them? Shabir, tell us what's going on, because you are from Pakistan, right?
Yeah, you know, Pakistanis have figured out a very different situation to get out of this situation that doesn't happen anywhere else. And guess what it is?
Uh-huh.
Cousin marriages.
Say that
It is
again.
cousin marriages.
Cousin marriages.
Okay.
It is close to 60% prevalent in the
Wow.
country. Like that's very common, and I'll tell you why. First of all, the cousin marriages are normally in also places which are wealthy families. So you were talking upper middle class, like well off people. They don't want to, if they have, let's say, $5 million of properties and businesses, and they're not going to want to get someone that is going to come and take that money away from them with their children. So they're going to try to keep it in the family. Siblings are going to agree that, okay, you have a daughter, I have a son, and they're going to decide to get them married. But this might be with the will of the kids or without. Okay, so because of this, the marriages, obviously, because this is the same family, right? So the bride side and the groom side is now the same. So a divorce in this situation is less likely because it's like you're divorcing your own family member. So because of that, the divorce rates are lower naturally, much naturally than you have here. That you have fights and whatnot, but obviously, if you're married to your aunt's kid, then they're not going to want to argue as much, and they're having a higher chance of getting along. So things like custody disputes and stuff like that is a lot less. And you guys didn't know that, I'm assuming, like the
I
Pakistani culture
didn't know that was. Did
is
you
very
know
normal.
this, guys? Did you know that
That is
this
very
was the
normal.
practice? It's just crazy because there is so much inbreeding issues. It's not good either.
This is
Like,
Yeah,
laughable.
there's other genetic implications, but the financial implication is the first thing that they're concerned about, the rich
yeah,
families.
I know,
Because
right?
they don't want someone to come out and just say, hey, you know what, we have kids with you, now give us money. Because
This
people
makes
can use kids to get money, right?
this makes perfect logical
It
sense
does. It does make sense.
because your biggest risk is the financial. But as far as survival of the species and propagation and all that, this leads to inbreeding, which is
Inbreeding.
not a good thing.
It's
Mm-hmm.
not just the first cousins, though. It can be second or third or close family members. So, like,
Okay,
their
I
preference is
count
that.
that.
Yeah, now the rise of dating apps and whatnot is actually they're trying to change that. Like, they're saying that, hey, if you go out in Muslim dating apps and you can find more women and men that you're not related to that you can get married to, the families normally oppose that if they're from rich backgrounds. And the other thing, there is a very big religious component. Sorry, Steve, I didn't mean to interrupt you. You were saying something.
No, go ahead.
Mm-hmm.
The religious side of the things in that country are very scary, as well as, like, you have to be cautious, right? Because the man could be rich and powerful, and he will be told that, oh, on paper you're allowed to marry more than one wife. Did you know that?
Yeah,
And
we kind of knew that. I read The Rain. I don't know if you know Charlie Kushu by Rishad Nuri Guntikin. And now that you mention it, that the cousin marriages are very common. Yes, it's true. Like they were cousins back in that book, and then finally they got married. Now it makes sense. Wow.
yeah, economics are a very big part of it, because we see what happens in the Western world, and they just thought that, hey, the best way to circumvent that is to just keep it in the family and not have to fight about it, and that sometimes works, sometimes it doesn't, but it's a
Mhm.
lot less likely that it will lead to a fight, just like we see here in the Western court system, because in that case, if there is a divorce, it would be probably be done hush hush, like just go separate ways. Don't make a fuss. The women are not going to be feminist crazy with their own family members because that's going to mess their family's life. So it's very likely. Now, the other problem, though, on top of this, is that obviously if you're in a poorer country, women aren't going to make much money on their own unless they come from a rich family. So divorce is almost like a privilege to rich people in these countries. That it's not that, hey, you don't get the court alimony system to mandate money. If you're married into a rich family, then they might not give you nothing, and they'll be fine, and you'll have to be fine with it because you can't go and challenge them. Same thing in kids' custodies. Like a friend of my dad's, he's a pilot in an airline. Okay, good job, but he's so nice. And my dad finds out that, hey, he had married the daughter of a very rich army general. Okay, his father was also himself in the army, but a little lower rank, a little rank below a general. Anyway, they got married. The lady was a little bipolar, and she started doing like hand sanitizers and weird crap. Anyway, they had 2 kids. The lady was taken away by the father-in-law. This is a very nice guy, right? This is not a typical. He's not your Andrew Tate. Like, let's be honest. He was just a very nice guy. Okay.
Okay.
And he just like lost his kids because the guy is like, hey, no, you're telling me my daughter's crazy. She's not. I'll take her back. And then he took the kids back too. So the father-in-law took the kids and the lady too. The lady passed away 2 months later by some OD of some sort. So the guy now is sitting and traveling on his airline pilot license, like flying around the world, and not have his kids because the richer guy took it. They took him. He doesn't have a court system to go and fight them because they're too powerful. So, yeah.
Hey, that's no different than anywhere else. The rich and powerful operate by a different set of rules. And if you're of a different class, even if you have a high stature job, not the money, not the hereditary wealth, yeah, you're at a disadvantage wherever you live.
And in that case, it's the religion shapes it a little bit more, though. Like that's the other problem, right? Like there's like very 2 big extremes in that part of the world. Like there's one part of extremes that is completely westernized, just like the lady you talked about. What you sent the link to me about, the lady that debated him. I absolutely do not think she should have debated him at all. Like, it makes no sense. She probably is the best thing she's ever done in terms of debating, and I went through that and it did not make sense. But in general, problems stem from the religious aspects there too. So, for example, they're going to interpret the religious teachings to either mask or promote women's rights in wrong situations. So, for example, there's a confusion about whether the permission of the first wife is required for marrying a second one. It's never enforced, and men do it out of just because they can. So this is like maybe 5% population. Maybe it's so rare because the random Joe will be happy just to get a date. I don't know if he's gonna go and say, "Hey, marry me twice." Like just like here, like how many men do we know that can go and have 10 dates in a month? Someone very well off or very, very good looking will get that privilege. It's not something that is given to the common person.
So having 2 wives is not really that common for people who don't have high income, right?
Yeah, like you can't have 4 wives with 4 separate earnings and have them feminists and live in the same family. It's just not happening.
It's always the wealthy men who can afford more than one woman. Even in the Western
world. More than one house.
Well, right.
That's
In the Western world, not so much in the US, but maybe Europe.
It's illegal.
Certainly Russia and France and Britain, the ultra wealthy get married, then they have a side piece, a mistress.
Yeah.
And they put her up in an apartment someplace. And does the average man have that opportunity? Hell no, it doesn't happen. Would you agree? Do Russian men have mistresses? The wealthy ones.
Oh, the wealthy ones have a lot. And in fact, it's statistics. Women who sign up for this, women who even marry this wealthy man, they have to be willing to share their man and the resources with other women, because if they want to have this man with these kinds of resources, they must share him. Statistics determines it. Our demographics really sucks. There
A
are
very
so
funny
few.
and
There
sad
are
example.
there are so few resourceful men out there.
I have a very funny and sad situation that happened with one of my dad's friends. So this gentleman is 90. Okay, he's very old, and he is a professor. So, good educated guy. He came to the U.S. from Pakistan in the 1960s, I think, 70s, a long time ago. And he married here. He married to a Caucasian woman, a white woman. And we're looking at, like, over the course of his marriage career, these women that came into his life figured out that he's easily manipulated, and they married him, divorced him, married him, divorced him. Both, I think he's had like 3 wives, and all of them left him. And one of them is now coming back as like a paid caretaker with him, because now he's old and he now spends time. And when he's tried to sell his home to get downsized, he still owed, like, 70, 80 grand on the mortgage.
Oh
And I'm
wow!
thinking, man, 80 years of life, earnings, and whatnot, he just married wrong. And look at how much it cost him. Like, he can't have the money to go pay his house off, so he sold it. He can't have the money to keep his kids around him or have his kids visit him. So, like, in general, it's like people like that that get taken advantage of with the court system. Absolutely.
Yeah. So how often do you have cheating in Pakistan?
Cheating is again a privilege for those that can.
That can.
And
But what about
it-
women? How often do women cheat on their husbands?
it's not even about physical cheating with women nowadays. Social
Mhm.
media has made it like so prevalent. Like for example, this is what my mom believes, and she's very traditional conservative in that. She believes that if a woman is giving a permission to a man to be around her without her spouse, then that is also the precursor to cheating. Because, like for example, she won't add. My mom would not add men that she doesn't know, but some
Mhm.
women would, right? So that is a precursor that she thinks will, like you have to clap with 2 hands. That's like the phrase. Like, you need 2 hands to clap. So, like, you need some sort of cooperation from that. Now, cheating is definitely like popular in places where marriages fall apart. The other thing is that if the marriages are arranged, those still happen, by the way. Like the 60, like 30,
Arranged
40%
marriages.
are arranged. So in that, what happens is that the marriages break apart because of some disagreement or mistreatment or something major that goes wrong. Or it could just be that the women, sometimes I hear this a lot, it's just boring. I don't want to marry him anymore. And that's enough for them to
Oh.
go, okay, mom, dad, you spent like a couple of years paying for this and put a lot of money in these events. I just don't want to get married. For men, it's less likely that they're getting laid. Why are they gonna, break that apart, right? Like if they're getting it. Now, 90% of the time they don't, and the marriage was just a parent's concoction of ideas that, hey, we picked him for you, or we picked her for you. She's good. You guys should get married. Then obviously it is more likely to open the door to cheating, because if you're with someone that you don't really like and you just did it because mom and dad said so,
Yeah.
that can be a problem. So yes.
Wow, interesting. So you tell us that women, even in those would you consider Pakistan as a patriarchal society in
Yes,
comparison
I would.
to
I would.
okay. So
I would.
women
It is.
in these patriarchal societies, they still cheat.
Yeah, like over there, it's so patriarchal that it does become very difficult for women to survive on their own. Like
Oh, that's what
it
we
is
need here, you know?
it is tough. It is tough, genuinely, because it's like you said, right? The women that make the higher job money, there
Mhm.
have to be like a very affluent, like a doctor or like a very high paying profession. And guess what? That comes with the territory, money and time. Like you have to invest time and money into that. So a lot of women, like this is a very patriarchal situation. Women that go into medical school in Pakistan, I think maybe you could get the numbers. It's a very high majority compared to men because women are better in school, so they go in medical school most of the time. But guess what you get as a job when you come out? Hard work. Like you have to work hard to take care of people and patients and whatnot. So guess what? If the society is patriarchal, the men want to provide for their families, right? They don't want them to go work. And
Right,
like for
right.
example, a rich man would not want his wife to go treat another man's disease or
True.
like surgery.
Makes sense. Makes
Like
sense.
they genuinely feel that's going to be a problem for them. So they're going to say, stay home and have fun with me. You want to travel, babe? We can travel. Like, that's the type of vibe that they want to keep, right? So in this case, what happens is the women that graduate medical school and they become the qualified profession that they want to, they can earn money, but they just choose not to because the rich family does provides for them. Now, if you were to get divorced, then what happens? Then it becomes problematic because guess what? The other problem in Pakistani society is the joint family system. You do not ever women rarely live alone there. It's like a taboo. Like women really live alone in that part of the world for right reasons. Like safety is an issue. People try to take advantage of you in the sense that if people find out in the society that a woman lives here alone, she's more susceptible to getting like robbed and stuff like that. Like for example, if two men broke in the middle of the night, they know that hey, we can just get away with whatever we want because what is she gonna do? That happens. So rich families do not let like a lot of their women live alone. And guess what? If you have to pay rent on your own, you have to be in a profession that can provide it. Now it's getting popular. Now, with the rise of social media, the entertainment industry has allowed that perhaps to happen a lot of times. That if you're a model or if you're an entertainer of what sorts, you can get paid jobs as early as 16, 17, 18 years old. And especially if you're pretty, like, oh God, like the brands are going to chase you and try to pay you. Like, hey, work with us for XYZ campaign. So that allows these women to break free from their families and go, okay, I can do a couple of dramas and I can do a couple of movies and I get paid enough where I don't have to worry about my parents. Okay, I can pay my own rent from that. And then, of course, social media influencers, they're on the rise. So in the past 5 years, that is shifting the dynamic. Women are able to go into these jobs and get paid from posting at home. But then there's a joint family problem too.
Okay, question for you.
Yes, sir.
That gives her economic security, independence.
Yeah.
But how can she protect herself if she's an independent woman making her own money? She still has to live on her own. How do you deal with that? How does she deal with that?
Normally they hide where they live to protect themselves. Like they might live in a high-rise building with security on outside, but it is very common for such places to get robbed where they know that there's only women. Like it's very normal because the society, let's say some handyman finds out that you live alone, he tells his friend and it gets around that, oh yeah, this guy, he used to live here, he doesn't live anymore. And that leads to a lot of robberies and a lot of violence against women too. Like if, for example, women go with black windows on the highway, like that's what they want. So because they know that if men see that the woman is driving alone, then she's a high susceptible case for cases like rape and other robberies. So it is actually genuinely unsafe for women to go and alone in certain places, just like any place where there's no law enforcement that can get to you in time.
Yeah, you know what I noticed, Shabir? There are quite a few of these women coming from the patriarchal cultures into the West, and then they start propagating the feminist BS.
Then
like
they overcompensate.
Yeah, like very common, right? Did you see that one? I think she was from Pakistan too, the one who was debating Andrew Wilson.
Yeah.
And like where is she? She's not in your country. She's not
in
going
Canada.
like, yeah,
In
you
Canada.
know, like feminist sisters go, you know.
She's in Canada.
She is here in the West doing
She's
all
in
of this
Canada.
crap.
Yeah, because I think her age also determines how she's going to carry herself now, because it looks like she's in her late 30s or 40s.
Yeah.
And if you have a kid at late 30s and 40s, you and I both know the dating marketplace. The man is not gonna go, okay, this is what I want. If he's a man of substance, if any status whatsoever, he's not gonna want to raise someone's kid. He's probably gonna go and say, hey, I'm gonna go hang out with the 25-year-old here. And she just has to be okay with that. Now, obviously, they push back on it, but this lady that came from Pakistan, the real thing, what happens, this is how they become feminists.
Okay.
Their
Mhm.
situations in that part of the world and what they're going through is going to determine how they're going to treat people all over the world. Like over here, men and women have to respect each other because, well, with the workforce, there are more women that work here. There's women that have jobs here. Whereas back where I come from, that might be less prevalent. Like, for example, if I go into a corporate job, it's less likely that I'm going to meet, like, 50% women because, well, the ones that are like successful, they work for a little bit, let's say 2 3 years, then they go to have kids.
sBarre,
Yes, sir.
how old were you when you came to the U.S.?
I'm 18. I was raised in Pakistan.
Okay, so as a first generation immigrant to the U.S., what kind of women do you look for? Would you marry a Pakistani woman who you encounter in the U.S.?
Someone like me, in that case. Someone like
What?
me. Someone like me in my situation, the way that I was raised in both countries, I think that is my suitable thing.
Okay.
Because
How many women are there out there of that type?
there's less. There's less because women here, they just do not want to get married young anymore. Like they would want to
Exactly.
go and work first and make money, and they don't see the benefit of that being provided to them anymore. Like it's just, hey, like there's that rare case of like some women that actually want it, but it's getting less and less likely that they're coming. Where I come from, though, like people that are like me, that grew up over there and then moved here. I have family in 3 places, right? Pakistan, USA, and England. I have the global perspective. I spent my time across these 3 countries.
Okay.
So that allows me to go, okay, I can go wherever I want and I can see different women and different types. Now, what do I prefer? I prefer someone that speaks my language and is understanding of where I came from. That's why I don't date out of race anymore. It is fun. I like it. Women or people are nice, but I just
Yeah,
don't
I
consider
know.
that.
That
That
makes
makes sense.
sense. Yeah.
And controversial take. It's easier to get laid in America than to get someone seriously married or talking to you anymore. Like it's absolutely brutal. Like I've seen the Whatever podcast. I've seen Fresh
I
and Fit. It
know.
is scary because the
Oh.
last thing you want is to buy food for a woman and who she takes it to some other guy she's sleeping with and gives him that food. Like I it just freaks my brain out to even think that's possible. Women defend
Okay,
this by saying, "Oh no, we're not together, so we can see everybody."
I know,
And
right?
I'm like, I'm
Open.
sorry. If you met me and you talked to me and you saw somebody else in that time, I am gone. That's not acceptable to me.
okay, that's easy to understand in general in the U.S., but does it also apply to Pakistani women you meet in the U.S.? Is it easier to sleep with them than to marry
No,
them?
no, it's not that easy because societal norms don't make it that easy. There
Okay,
might be
well, that's that's good.
it's not that easy to do that there. It's like it's still you have to go hush hush because there will be only a few subset of it. And the problem comes in is the girls that come from religious families are wanting it more. I haven't really done it. Just like how you have here, like you preachers' daughters are going on and making OnlyFans and stuff. There's more likely that they're gonna rebel over there. That hey, the minute I get out of this place, I'm gonna like enjoy myself. Like what? Why am I even here? Like, and guess what? I felt like that when I was growing up. I went to a boys' school throughout my childhood. So women was like, oh my god, like we have women here. Like it was such a like I was so sheltered that I did not get to interact with women my age when I was 10, 15. And maybe at like 16, 17 was the first time in school that I saw women in my classroom. Before that, it was never the thing. So guess what that did though? it turns you into a, hey, I have to get their approval and get them to like me. So when I was in early teen, like 17, 18, 19, I was very, very susceptible to getting taken advantage of, because I did not see how to deal with women and act around women and treat them like people. And most guys go through that, like Pakistani men specifically. Like they go through trials and tribulations, get burned 15, 20 times, and then they realize, okay, I gotta keep a frame up. I gotta get my status up. Because guess what? When you're like early, like let's say 19, 18, you don't have money.
Yeah.
So if your dad and your mom are paying for your date, you gotta go and say, wake the fuck up, go get a job, work, do something where women come and talk to you. And thankfully, I did that over the past decade, and that I see the benefits of it now. Was there another question I missed there? Can you repeat?
No, you answered that. I like hearing from you. So
Yeah, it's
I like
interesting.
asking thought-provoking questions
Yeah.
and letting you deal with them.
It's interesting to just get a different yeah, I'm just like I've been thinking and
Okay.
analyzing what he's saying.
So
Sorry.
I'll ask you another question. Okay, Christianity promotes restraint on sexual licentiousness, sexual hookups. We all know that
Every
Muslim
religion does. I don't
promotes
think
that.
anyone says, hey,
Every
go ahead.
religion does. And you've mentioned that the Muslim influence in Pakistan has its downfalls, but its positive elements as well. So overall, is the Muslim, the faith practice of Pakistan a good thing when it comes to men-women relationships, or does it cause more problems?
More problems, because guess what? The women that, this is funny, right? Like when I see here, if I open a girl's Instagram and she has a declared relationship, dating XYZ since 2015, 2020, like I see that, that is an indication to me that is a good girl that has publicly declared that she is in a relationship. That means that chapter is closed for more guys to approach her. That doesn't happen there. They can be seeing 4, 5, 6 guys in a proper relationship that are expecting to marry them, and they're nowhere on their social media for religious reasons, because their parents won't like it, or like they're just gonna go and get shamed, so they hide it completely. So then the guys have to become investigators with magnifying glasses to see which guy is commenting, who is she interacting with more, to see if she has a boyfriend or not. Because what happens is then men fight. Because what happens is if one guy approaches another man's woman, then he's going to get offended and he's going to approach him and they're going to fight about it. So a lot of times the women, just because of religious reasons and parental pressure, they just do not declare who they're in a relationship with. Because you and I as men, we would be totally fine if there's another woman we meet that is married, right? Like we don't have to approach everybody we meet. But over there, they like the advantage of getting the implication that they're single. Just like here. Like they like the intent, they like the fact that if they're not married, that they can they'll promote and market and put posts out for men to like react to, right? They can do that. But in that part of the world, a lot of fights, I think 80% of fights I can think in my college time, like high school and stuff, were because of some woman that was seeing some multiple men and everybody wanted her attention. And the men are now fighting about her because there's no public relationship, right? Like, hey, she and her and me, don't mess with her. And men respect other men's authority if they respect the person. Like, okay, cool, yeah, his girl, I'm not gonna. But if she's not declared anybody and she's talking to the friend, she's talking to the guy, there's like 5 male best friends, 4 like boyfriends, 1 later guy. They have like a whole, like, social media now has completely changed the game. Like the religion part of it, like there's women, I can tell you, like I think Elena, she posted it on her Instagram, that will post provocative pictures and like half naked pictures, and then she will then suddenly in like a month or two switch to religious content and say that she's repented.
Oh
And
yes, this actually happened to the same girl that I brought up as an example. She removed her husband picture, she removed her provocative swimming suit pictures, and then she started making content
for
saying
Ramadan,
that
they do that too. Like they get the most views in Ramadan.
well, yeah, she was saying that if we dance, if we use the jury, if we do all follow the path basically to some extent, we need to give them credit, we need to respect them. But then she also mentioned how much disrespect and hate she gets from her own people who criticize her for being basically a public whore for doing what she is
Those
doing.
own people are crazy too, Elena. Like they ask for religious contents and religious wisdom, and then nudes in the same conversation.
Exactly. Yes.
Well, it seems to me that what you're saying is the appearance of purity is very important over there in
The
Pakistan.
appearance of purity gives you the most clout.
Right, just as it is here. So a woman can appear to be pure, and she can put on that mask, but then she can hide it. And women have always done that. Or she can be a porn star and then find Jesus and become born again, and then go on the circuit of saying, Jesus saved me. Yeah, it sounds to me like in the Muslim world, it's kind of the same script with a different religion.
Because religious content is getting a lot of views on social media. Like whenever religious content is going, people are promoting it, they're sharing it, they're exposing themselves to it. So when let's say a very famous actress that has been in 10 movies suddenly goes, oh hey, I wanna for Ramadan I'm gonna make a quote a Quran verse every day. It's gonna get much more views than if I do it. Like it's just people are going to start flocking towards it, and then they might be appearing that they're going to be conservative, but that's just a promotion online. It's not how they're like in real life, because most of the religious preachers that we see on TV, they're complete pieces of crap sometimes offline. Like it's like you will feel like, okay, wait, this is just a business act for you, isn't it? Like using religion to monetize and getting clout, getting money. And I mean, that's how it's used now. Like these people are, if they're traditionally conservative, they're not going to have the need to do these things. So like for me, I don't post anything that's wildly crazy on my social media, but I also don't post things that are wildly religious either. Like I'm in moderation. That okay, do I respect the religious beliefs of others? Do I even respect the woman that is now actually turning a new life over? I absolutely do. But I will very quickly find out if she's using that to get something and then changing her ways, or actually like just putting it as a marketing situation. I don't know. Have you guys seen the porn star in Pakistan? There is one that went to, and she's no longer a porn star apparently. She's from Japan or Malaysia. I forgot what's her name. But yeah, she went viral because of it.
So sBarre,
yes.
Do women return to traditional religion as they approach, let's say 30, upper 20s, when their biological clock starts ticking louder and they want to have kids? Do they all of a sudden return to religion?
They go with the proud single mom vibe.
Oh, like that Mahlesh girl who was debating Andrew Wilson. She's a proud single mommy.
Yeah, she's proud. Now I don't know what's proud for. Like she could be proud, but I don't know if her son is proud or daughter is proud.
Yeah, I know, right?
The kids, you don't have kids for yourself. You have them for their betterment. And both of us that come from anyone that comes from two-parent houses, like I do, I absolutely respect both of them so much. And what's amazing is people envy, the people in society envy that. Like, oh yeah, this is a good system you got here, and I'm so grateful for that. And a lot of people, when I come to America and I see that they don't get that privilege of dad and mom being together and spending time together and seeing that, then they reflect that in the relationships that they have. Now, obviously, my dad isn't perfect. There is obviously things. My dad is a performer and a musician. He's an artist.
Okay.
He's a very good artist. So he's not your typical conventional alpha. He's a good guy. But I mean, you see in other countries that there is men like that have multiple marriages or multiple affairs, and their kids absolutely despise them. They go, yeah, I don't talk to him much. Why? Well, when I was little, and you can probably get that a lot from a lot of Muslim countries. Yeah, when I was like 5, my dad married off another woman, and then now he's with them, and he just comes to see me once a week, and I don't talk to him much. So the thing that I tell polygamists, people that promote polygamy and like multiple wives, I tell them a lot of kids aren't going to be able to be stable in that family environment, because they're going to constantly have to get approval of their siblings, and the age gap makes a difference. And more importantly, if a death happens, like if the dad passes away, then the other families are normally going to have a custody battle about properties, and they might kick people out of their houses. So it can lead to a lot of legal problems. That's why it's illegal in Western countries, right? That if there's two wives have 2 kids, let's say 4 kids total, 2 kids each, and the dad passes away, who gets what?
Yeah. Oh.
It's a cluster hell. Like, you do not know. The court decides, okay, based on what? Who he married first? Who's older? Like, and then who runs their mouth better? Who has a better lawyer? Like, it's just too confusing. So that is why I think the Western law has made it illegal. Like, it shouldn't be allowed, because you're gonna mess up your entire family structure in the next generation. This would not be the case in the royal family. This isn't the problem. Like, if the Saudi prince marries 4 wives,
fine, he can do it. Yeah.
Well, he has power over all of them.
Yeah.
And he can set it up, and the whole culture is about male power over women, so women get no say. But the minute you give women a say, well, in any culture, women are going to fight with women for status, and you're going to have a mess. The only way a man can have 2 wives is if he is just almost a brutal, masculine man and can control absolutely both of them without caring. But the minute you kind of even move to respect a woman, man, do you want to deal with 2 wives? My God, save me from that hell.
The way that they deal with them isn't with them being feminists, right? They deal with them as the second woman is also serving them and winning their approval every day. Like, they're also taking care of them. So, like, one wife is in one house, the other is another. So that's how it's working, and that's how it's worked for many years, from olden times, from war times, when and because this marrying women was because of that. Like, if there's a war that happens, what?
The only way it works is if the man has complete power over both women. He has to have absolute power to make it work.
Yeah. And when the battles happened, when the men obviously fought each other, the women and children were protected. So then they said, okay, you have to protect them. So who's taking responsibility? Someone would come and say, okay, cool, I can marry her and I can provide her a house and shelter and her kids. That's how it was supposed to be in that time. It's not like that now, though. Like, it's not that you have 4 wives and 4 different incomes coming in and you're a millionaire. That's not how it's supposed to work. And it doesn't. Like, 4 wives that will have separate incomes. I don't know. I'm not an expert on multiple marriages. I just know that in the impact on kids, it's no longer worth doing them anymore. Like, I have seen too many broken families that talk to me and say that, hey, yeah, my dad kind of married other people, and it gives the same vibe as just like if your dad had an affair with many people and he just left you. A lot of kids grow up with that resentment, and that takes the trauma. Basically, these kids will need therapy. If you're a man, if you marry more than one wife for the heck of it, just for fun, then your kids will probably grow with that scar, and then they'll feel very confused. And if, God forbid, when you pass away, you better wish they're going to take care of you. Because the one thing that every mom's worst nightmare for their son is another woman coming into their life and then controlling them and taking away their baby boy from them. So that is why my mom is like, don't marry anybody from the entertainment industry, please. Like, don't do that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So, yeah.
Well, I think this is a fascinating discussion to have, because particularly in the United States right now, we're seeing this rise of the idea of having, we can solve this by having more than one wife, right? And if I'm a strong man, I can have, I can afford more than one wife. I can, and that makes you somehow more of a man. And you're coming from a society where that is still practiced, and you're saying, hold up, wait a minute, don't do that. It has a lot of problems associated with it. And there are other problems associated with it too. So if you go look back in history, okay, you would end up with lots of men that never had access to reproduction at all. And those men would get agitated. And if you don't start a war to kill them off, they start a war inside your borders, and and your society falls apart. So it was, there was a lot of wars that were fought for the purpose of, well, we have an excess of men, we need to kill them. So, when people are saying, oh yeah, no, we're just going to go back to that kind of society, I'm like, that's the society you really want to go back to? Like, monogamy has actually been a massive benefit to society.
It has. The single family home is a very good institution to take care of your kids. It's still the best way to do it. 2 parents in the home. And we see that in the Black community. I think a lot of conservatives that I've seen, Charlie Kirk and whatnot, they say that, hey, 70% of Black children are raised without a father in the home. That is a very high number. So if the dad is in the home, the boy is going to behave. Whereas if he isn't, he might just go do whatever the hell he wants. And that's where you end up having problems with, like, prisons and violent crime and stuff like that.
Well, we certainly see that in the data coming out. Single mommies raise little criminals because single mommies don't teach discipline. Men teach that.
Yep, and some of them realize that now. Like, when they see that, hey, he's not listening to me, and I'm like, yes, because you have to discipline him. And I see that in a lot of families now, and I said, he has to find a male figure that can discipline him. No, but you were gonna be bossy. And I'm like, what do you think happens in the army? If you don't wake up at 6 a.m. if you're call time, what do you think happens? My mom used to say they would waterboard you, and I'm like, she's joking. That's not possible, right? She only did that to scare me into waking up for school when I was little.
They don't waterboard you. Well, they don't waterboard you, but the Marines will throw water on you. Like, they'll get a cold bucket of water and wake you up.
Yeah, as in, like, they'll throw water on you to wake you up, in the sense that that's what I meant when I said waterboard. It's just that like it's discipline that you're gonna get from your own tribe.
Right.
So, and then I think Pearl also advocates for women in army for this exact reason. The women compromise the unit because men want to protect her. And if there's a team plan, and if there's an infantry situation where they're fighting and stuff, they're going to try to protect the women and children. That's what they're supposed to do. And then if they do that in certain situations, they can actually die in the army.
Yes. Well, so
you stayed back to save her. Well, there was a bomb there. You didn't notice because you were busy looking at her.
Well, so in the United States, yes, we have women in the infantry, but I've always found it interesting that women are not in our special forces community. There are no female operators in special forces, and that's a community where it's smaller teams, and if any one person fails to do their job correctly, the whole unit dies. Right? And they are not letting women into those communities. No, I think that's
exceptions, though. Like, there are exceptional women that I've seen in different military situations and whatnot. There could be very good fighter pilots. Like, I'm not saying they can't be, but then you'll have to find the needle in a haystack there.
Well, yes, and so women, when it comes to being a fighter pilot, women have one advantage over men: lower average blood pressure. And that helps when you're pulling high G forces. The problem for women is that when you're pulling high G forces, you need to be very strong. Very strong.
Physically, right?
Right, physically. So yes, men might have average higher blood pressure, but men can be 2 times stronger and they're still less likely to black out. So, it's again, the other thing is women tend to be shorter, so they fit better in cockpits. So that's another thing that can happen. But, again, do you really want women out there doing that? Because here's another thing. I am a licensed pilot, by the way.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. Oh, awesome.
Yeah, and when I was in flight school, every pilot I was training with froze at some point. Some situation just got the better of you and you couldn't handle it. And that's part of the reason the instructor's there. But women froze more. Women were more likely to freeze, just give up, throw their hands up, and I don't know what to do with this. Or just literally just sit there and literally just lock up. There was an accident up in Toronto recently where Delta Airlines jet crashed. And as we now know from the data that's been collected, that there were warning bells going off saying, you've got this. They were descending too fast, and there's a warning bell that goes off.
The human error, right?
Yeah, and she was flying. It was a young lady. She didn't even have the 1,500 hours yet that she was supposed to have because of some special program she was in. And the plane doesn't change. In fact, the report says nothing changes about the status of the airplane. There's no control inputs, there's no throttle inputs, nothing. This warning's going off saying you need to change something about this airplane, and nothing happens.
Can I point out one thing? When high stress situations, you're cornered. Men predominantly go to the fight or flight. Fight is an active response. Flight is an active response.
Mm-hmm.
Women go to the freeze and scream.
Yeah, that's so true.
That's inactive and doing nothing. Inactive and inactive. What do you say, Plutarch?
Well, yeah, and there's plenty of situations in our relatively safe society today where they can do that and nothing bad will happen to them. Okay.
Yeah.
But there's, you get out in the military, you get out into something where people can die from inaction, and you don't want that. And we have to be willing to look at people and say, you know what? I love that you're interested in this, but this is not for you.
I honestly
go to a construction site.
What?
Go to a construction site. Like people constructing with plazas, concrete work, steel, masonry.
Yeah, exactly.
I honestly freak out, guys, every time I hear the pilot in the airplane that we are flying in is a woman. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm scared. She could be a great pilot, but
I just hope they got the job because they were good at it. And there are some people that actually are. Like, they absolutely are. It's not the same in Hollywood anymore. Like that, they're going to cast someone just because they have to complete that diversity for them. So
let me address that. The thing. Oh, yes, there are some women out there who can do it. I don't care. That 1 in 1,000 women that can do the job, I will say, yes, we should stop her, prevent her from doing that job. I don't care about her. The exception does not prove the rule. Lowering the bar, yes, she's going to be restricted from doing a job she might be capable of. So what? 1 in 1,000 people is deprived of that opportunity. Big whoop.
Yeah.
You know what? If she's that great of a woman, do you know what her greater task is? Having children that are that great, because she's going to have some sons that are that great. And she can raise those sons, and she can have a bigger impact on the world not by being a fighter pilot or a surgeon or any of that shit, by getting married and raising kids and putting her mark on the world that way. Because the hand that rocks the cradle rules the world.
Absolutely. And I 100% agree. And I'll tell you, my grandmother was one of 14 siblings.
Wow, that's a lot
One
of
of
kids.
14.
Mhm.
So her dad was a very big landlord in modern day India, and he had, I think, 800 acres, 1,000 acres in the British rule. So he had one wife, and he had 6, 7 kids with her. Then she passed away. He remarried. He had 7 with her, so 14 in total. My grandma was one of 2 in the bottom, and the impact that you have for her now. She passed away last year at 82. She had 5 kids and 14 grandkids from those 5 kids. My grandfather passed away in 1980, 86, 80, 85, like very young, before he turned 50. He just had a heart attack and died. And she raised the 5 kids with the help of joint family members and other, big, like, senior people she looked up to. She didn't go to school past undergrad. Like, she didn't go to college. She graduated her high school and that was it. She didn't go to college. But she raised all these 5 kids with help, and obviously all of these 5 kids, they do really well financially. She got them married. She got them like educated. She got them like supported. And to the day that she passed away, the impact that she had, I don't think anybody was wondering, Grandma, why didn't you become a doctor? Like, it would have
Yeah.
been cool if you had a big house. No, we all came together and we gave her a family home, and like she peacefully passed away in her sleep that way. So that is very good impact that none of us are gonna forget. Now I don't know if women right now see that hey, that is also impact. Having kids at that level and taking care of them and sacrificing for them did come back to her. Now, sure, I'm not saying there's not bad kids in the world. There is some, but we weren't. We took care of her till the day she left us. So that no one cared about her profession when she passed away, though. We weren't looking for her to be independent and strong and feminine and whatnot. Like, we got what we wanted because she loved us.
Okay, to build on that.
Right.
Okay, I spent 25 years as a mechanical engineer, worked for some companies. I knew the guys who were on top, the VPs, the presidents, the guys in control. And I even met a couple of them who were previously presidents of the company. You know what? 5 years after they leave, nobody remembers them. They don't give a shit about them. And you know what? I've watched, as time goes on, oh, so-and-so passed away. Okay, I knew him. I respected the man. But if I asked any of the employees at that company now, do you remember this guy? No. Okay, you have whatever your career is, and this goes for men and absolutely goes for women. Once you make your bones and you're just this high-powered person, and then you retire and you die, nobody remembers you. Nobody gives a shit. The only legacy you are going to have on this planet is your children.
Right. They'll remember you. Do right by them.
They'll remember you and how you raised them. They go on to do their own thing. There is no such thing as an individual. If you raise a son and he becomes successful, you know what? As his father, you get some of the credit for that, for making him who he is. If you raise a daughter and she marries some person, some man, and has 3 kids and does well and stays married, guess what? You, as the father, have a lot of credit for making her who she was, raising her with discipline, and for her to be successful in raising kids. You can go back a generation. What you do in the larger world really doesn't mean that much. because nobody gives a shit about you. After you die, nobody cares. Your children do care, and they will have a continuing impact on the world.
Exactly, 100%. Because the generation is a lot smaller than we think it is. Like the generation time frame is a lot smaller than we think it is. Like right now, kids that were born in 2005, they're 20. And I remember 2005, and I'm 30. Right? I'm 30. Like I genuinely do not get, like, how someone can be 20 and like have all this opportunity for the next decade. And like the thing is, if they can choose a job that might look like that's the best thing they need to do at this moment. But a lot of women I see, and men too sometimes, like, I'm not gonna lie, men are not like, they don't see that anymore because of society. They feel that if they go and get status and get material wealth, a lot of times that's going to be remembered and more flex worthy on social media. Sure, it's not flex worthy, it's flex worthy for a post and whatnot. Let's see if you have a good car. But I think that I'm seeing some of my friends that had kids young, they're having them now and going on trips with them, and I feel like I missed out on that. I did not get married yet. So there is benefits to that. That's absolutely important. If you have the means and you have someone right that is waiting for you, go ahead and do it.
I'm wondering here, the kids will remember the actions of their parents, right? How they've been raised. What will the kids remember out of the parents who, like single mothers, for example? The children who have been raised by single mothers, how kind of imprint they are going to have?
The men that are raised by single mothers become friends to 10 women and provide for them. Because they never had a father figure tell them, look, you're not going to get approval from women like that.
Well, I was just going to say that you are seeing the impact from it.
Yeah.
Okay. It's just not no one is going to remember the individual women. All these women think that they're going to be remembered for, but no one actually is. However, women always function in tribes and groups, and we are definitely going to remember the impact that these women had. You can see it in, we were talking about at the beginning of the show, we were talking about how Russian custody and divorce courts work, right? That's an impact of these women. It's true here too in the West. Okay. The single mommies. Single mommies raise more criminals. Well, that is an impact on us. Okay. You are seeing the impacts, and this is how civilization has always been. You never remember the contributions of the individual. Even a man like Steve Jobs, how much do we talk about him anymore? I mean, he built the phones, the computers that we use, right? He built all of that. We don't talk about him that much anymore. And there will come a day when we don't talk about him at all, except in history books, like boring books.
So what was the original question here?
What kind of imprint are these single mothers, going to leave on their kids? What will their kids remember about their single mothers?
Well, I'll tell you my story. It's the outcome. Okay, divorced, left 2 young kids. She accused me of nasty things. I have no contact for, I tried my best, spent all kinds of money, and I had to bow out. So my daughter, eldest daughter, is currently, I don't know, mid-20s. Not spoken to her for 20 years.
Wow.
So she goes to college, gets pregnant, has a kid out of wedlock, marries the father. She's smart. She is very smart. She's now in medical school to become a doctor. Has the 1 kid, no more kids. Her mother poisoned her against me. She married a man who comes from a mother-dominated family. I've tried to reach out to the family. They believe the whole narrative against me. She has no contact with me, although I tried to reach out to her. She believes in narrative. So, okay, what's in her future? Well, she's going to get her MD. I have no idea what her husband's doing, but obviously, medical field, high chance of infidelity, promiscuity. She's going to be encountering men with much higher degrees than her husband, higher in stature and earning. Hypergamy? Yeah. Okay. She's wicked smart. She has one kid, a daughter. That's it. Now, this daughter is probably going to be raised with a princess mentality. And then, well, once she's a doctor for a couple years, she can do better. She'll realize, yeah, she's not really in love with this guy. She'll divorce him, become a single mother, doctor, and be raising this kid. And you know what? Life is not going to be fulfilling for her. And so she'll be one of these women on social media complaining about the quality of men and how there are no good men out there and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, okay. Hello. This is what happens.
I respect that. Absolutely. Hopefully, you do get contact in the future. Maybe she she runs into you somewhere. I don't know. Maybe you do get to build that relationship with her that you've lost.
Right. I hope so. It's out of my control.
Yeah, it's sad. It's sad to see how, like they, by destroying dads, by destroying, and oh gosh, guys, I'm going to show you a video, okay, of one lawyer, and where I made a post about how the system is going to fight hard tooth and nail to support the three of us, and by three of us I mean that kind of entitled and delusional mentality of women. They will do anything. Okay, so let's see here. I'm going to share with you a video. Okay, it's by a lawyer, a female lawyer that I've been following for a while now, and she gives advice mostly to women, actually, how to financially grape their husbands. And here she makes a point. Okay, and this is Brian from whatever podcast, you know him.
To the fact that
Yeah.
men absolutely destroy.
Did I edit, guys? Yes, I did. Sorry. We'll start over. Okay, one second.
In marriage
I
and
agree.
in divorce.
Wrong, wrong, wrong. Men do not get destroyed in marriage. It is so untrue that it's going to cost 5 to 6 figures for attorneys. Maybe people who have mega bucks and want to fight, that might be true for. There are people in contested divorces who go to mediation and they settle everything. 98% of people who go to mediation settle everything. It's only a small percent who actually go to court and have a trial, which costs a fortune. So many other people use collaborative law and go to mediation. And you also have to know that about 80% of people do not.
Because men are waking up to the fact that men get absolutely destroyed in marriage
I
and
agree.
in divorce.
Wrong.
Okay, we've
Tell
heard
this
it,
lady-
right?
Tell this lady to watch 2.5 Men. Have anybody seen that TV show, 2.5 Men?
2.5
Yeah,
minutes.
she'll just tell you that they get it wrong, that the show gets
Hold
it
on.
wrong.
Plutarch, you're the math guy.
Okay, let's do it.
What? Okay, twice divorced, collaborative, never happened either time. I wanted mediation and all that. Didn't happen. So 2% in the first marriage times 2% in the second marriage. What percentage does that make it?
Well, for you that's 4%, but
no. It's you have to multiply.
Yeah.
It's a factorial type. Well, whatever.
Oh, so it's 8%. Well, okay.
2% times 2% is 0.000 whatever.
Mhm.
So you're saying that I am like a 1 in 1,000 person? Fuck you.
Yeah, I know.
No,
I figured that
this
she
is
was.
common.
No. Actually,
she's
no.
using girl math.
Well, actually, she did something worse than that.
She did something worse than that. And Tacticus, by the way, says it cost him 50 grand.
Yeah. Half the cost of a passport wife. Absolutely,
Yeah.
Tacticus. So no, what she did with that is she's so Brian just says the little clip is, oh, men get absolutely destroyed in divorce. Brian is talking about many different there's many different aspects. You know, they don't get the kids. They have to the courts will set up ongoing alimony, et cetera, et cetera. And this woman is saying, oh, well, it's not going to cost a lot of money to get a divorce if you do mediation. Maybe true. I never went to court with my divorce. It still cost me, I think it was like $10,000 or I don't remember what it was exactly, but it was 5 figures. An uncontested divorce was 5 figures, guys. Okay. You know, she's saying, oh, well, you know, megabucks have to spend 100,000 to go to court. And yeah, going to court is going to cost you a lot of money. I get that. Brian's not talking about the financial cost of going to court. And that's all I have to say about that. She's misrepresenting what he's talking about with a clever clip.
She has to, don't you think so? Because she's a divorce lawyer. So
Exactly. This is the point. Thank you, Shabir. This is what I say.
Why would a divorce lawyer ever say on public media and devalue her own business and say, yeah, no, don't do the divorce. Stay together.
Yeah, right.
Be happy family. No, do it. Please pay me money. I can help you do this.
Exactly.
I promise.
She said you can go to mediation and then the outcome isn't so bad. Yeah, right. How many times do you go to mediation? What percentage of women will go to mediation? And in my experience, if you marry a religious woman and you get divorced and she wants to keep her religion, she's going to accuse you of horrendous things. And divorce is not permitted except if he does something really, really, really bad. So she has to maintain that facade. Therefore, she cannot mediate with the guy. And you're going to have a brutal divorce. Yes, theoretically, if you could go to mediation, you could come up with some reality. But how often are women actually reasonable?
He wins either way, right? Like if you're a divorce lawyer, just like there's other lawyers like property and whatnot. The real estate lawyer is gonna say, "Hey, don't live in an apartment. Don't rent. Pay out of your pocket." Like every time I go to the bank, they're trying to give me a car loan. You need a car? And I'm like, no, I have one. Thank you. I paid for it. No, but you can get a loan on your business and get another car. And I'm like, yeah, that's the bank's job. That's how they make money. So they're going to say get more car. Oh, it's just 2% interest, right? I'm like, I don't care. Like go to somebody that does care. I'm sure you see some idiots that come in and they care.
It's so interesting, the loops that they try to get you into to buy the things that they are selling to you. It's fascinating. I find it fascinating.
No, I'm lucky because I see businessmen a lot earlier, right? But then there's like in this case, this lady is trying to sell me something. So is she ever gonna make content that says, "Hey, buy cash for things that you can afford"? No, but she's gonna say things like,
you don't realize if you took out the loan, since you're a successful man, went out and spent, well, $70,000, $80,000, $100,000 on a shiny sports car and drove around in that, you would feel good. And all the women would recognize, whoa, there's a stud driving that sports car. I want him. And just think how successful you would be with the women if you spent all that money on a new car.
What's funny is I have a Mercedes and it's a nice car. I like it. But no woman that has sat in a car has ever realized what a Mercedes is. He's like, okay, nice car. Like, they don't really know much about it. So why am I going to buy a more expensive car to impress women? No, I bought it because it was the best car that I could buy at that time for what I had, and that is why I bought it. Now, if I did it to tell women that, hey, look, I don't think 90% of them, most of them won't even know. They're like, oh, I don't even know about cars, so they don't even know. Like, oh, you know what, a massage seat? Let me show you a massage seat. And they're like, wow, cool, this is nice. And I'm like, a man would appreciate this. Like, oh, this is cool. So I've literally, like, men like will roll their window and they look at me and go thumbs up. And I'm like, that had never happened when I was in my Volkswagen. That felt good. Like, oh, nice car. And I'm like, this is an older car. It's not even like a brand new one, but it's like, it still feels like I'm not going to go and get validation from others. And a lot of women, they fall into that, hey, I should get this dress because, you know, this will look good when I go into that wedding of XYZ. But I don't think that way, because that's how men are.
Well, and I think that there's another trap that we fall into. We think that the women care because we men care. Like,
Exactly.
the only people who have commented on my car, I drive a fairly recognizable car. There's not too many of them. And only ever men have commented on my car. I have gotten lots of comments about it. And the women, I mean, Elena, my wife, she drove in that car. I actually got it while we were dating. She had no idea what it was. You know, it was just like all
the seat is comfortable and it has a butt warmer.
There it is. There it is. It's the only thing she cares about. It's comfortable and warm. And I could be driving an SUV. As long as the seat was comfy and warm, she doesn't care. I can drive a sports car. As long as the seat is comfy and warm, she doesn't care.
Pretty much, yeah.
But what I will tell you, Plutarch, is the fact that it's a high-end luxury car here. America is a Western country. There, people are able to afford cars by working part-time. In Pakistan and other parts of the world, these cars are very heavily tariffed. So getting a car, like any car in general, for anybody, is a sign of considerable wealth that will elevate your status completely. And I'm like, well, maybe I should live there just to see how it makes a difference.
that's so. There are women here who do recognize the value of the cars, but they're not recognizing the specific features or anything like that. They're recognizing the symbol, and those women tend to be gold diggers.
Of course, like they're recognizing what you can do for them because you have that car.
Yeah, and you ask them, what kind of car does your boyfriend drive? I don't know, but it's shiny and red.
They don't know what they do for work. And that freaks me out. I'm like, wait, so you've been with someone for a year, you don't know what they do? Like, that's like murder for men, right? Like, if I meet another man, the first thing we normally ask is, hey, what type of work do you do? Or you like what you do? You have fun? Like, I want to see what the guy likes doing. But women don't care about these things, and that's up to them. But it's just like a man would meet somebody and be friends and not know what industry their friend works in. It's just unheard of.
Yeah.
Sorry. Can we talk about DEI in corporate, Elena? We never.
Yeah, I know. You want. We will probably have to put you on another show and like straight from the beginning, where we can dive in deeper into some topics, if you don't mind, Shabir, because we are running already for 2 hours here. I wanted to show you. I wanted to show you another video, guys, also from the same lawyer. I'm kind of going after her.
I have to follow her. I'm gonna look at her and see what she does.
Yeah, I do follow her. I did ask her. Okay, she made a lot of videos about how like basically men should marry, and I asked her, what do men get from marriage today, and she didn't answer. So guys, please go like my I did share it in my stories on IG. Go like my question, because she might actually answer to those questions that get most likes. I doubt she will answer to specifically my question, because she probably will not want to answer to it, but we'll see. Okay, let's watch another one. Did I share it? Okay, cool.
Mom, no.
If the police tell the mom that the 14-year-old child can make a decision, that's wrong. And what she needs to do is she needs to go to court to enforce the order that she had custody. That's what she needs to do, not put her hand in and cry hysterically when the child has made a decision for the moment that he wants to be with his father. She needs to go to court. The police were wrong. What she did wrong is she didn't have in her hand the parenting plan that says that the child on that day is supposed to be with her. Then the police would have had to uphold it because they have a court order and a parenting plan that that child is supposed to be with the mother. That's how she could have helped herself. In this circumstance, the police got it wrong.
So, from what I understood, a 14-year-old child stands up for his rights. Cops say that he is free to go with his dad instead of mom. So, a child chose to go with dad. But she basically tells women how they can play the system so that they can execute their rights for the children and custody.
She has a lot of social media reach. I'm just seeing her profile. I'm like, wow, that's pretty handsome.
Yeah,
she's influencing a bunch of people now.
She is, yes. This is why I brought her up, because a lot of people follow her advice, and I just find it very like they don't even care about what the child wants. If a child wants to spend more time with his dad, like, no, but it's the court order. Did you see how, like, the language she used? And like, no, he's supposed to be with the mother, even if a child, who cares what a child wants at the moment?
Well, you have to be careful here.
She's an East Coast woman. I'm sensing she's not
Florida.
Florida. Okay, she's still not Christian. That's what I'm sensing.
Well, so what I was saying is that, okay, you don't want to give the child full control because children are children. They're not adults yet. Okay. However, I would look at this and I would say that kid really doesn't want to be with mom.
Yeah.
That means we should be asking more questions about why that kid doesn't. I mean, at 14 years old, this is a person who is likely mentally competent to start making those kinds of decisions. Okay. And you don't get to treat them like they're 2 and 3 years old. And that's kind of what this lawyer is saying.
You don't get to treat them like they are your property based on what the court order has assigned.
Well, what I think she's actually trying to say here is because alimony and child support is determined by where the kid spends most of the time. You need to fight to keep the kid on your property, because if you don't, then the dad can say, look, I'm taking care of the kid most of the time because the kid wants to take care of me to take care of the kid. So I need more of the child support or to pay less or to the woman. And so my guess is she's not saying that's why here, but that's why she's doing it. But there is an age where I go, look, if the kid doesn't want to be around you, he doesn't want to be around you. You know, court order notwithstanding, whatever. I guess.
Wait, can you go back to the video? I want to highlight something.
Oh, you want? Okay, hold on. You still can see it, right?
Yeah. So mute it.
No.
Do you want me to stop it?
Yeah. Yes. Plutarch, if you realize it, like if I go into the mindset of why she even made the video, it was to obviously promote the situation where other women might go through this, and they reach out to her for consultations.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
That could be one reason. That my dad, the dad took my son away because he just said he wanted to be there, and the court says I have to have him on weekends and blah blah blah. So she can go and say, oh, okay, babe, why not you pay this fee of $200? Let's have a call and see what we can do. So she's using this as a pipeline, which I get. It's her business. She can. But if you look at the comments here, she's literally being bashed in all of them. I think. I don't think anybody, it's because of the court system that is attorneys like you that is messing it up. If the son wants to be with the father, then who the hell are we or someone attorney to say who should he go to? Like there's obviously a reason he wants to go. Like we're not talking about that at all. It's just that we're we're showing that, you know, you can go and help situations like this, and of course you have a fee for that. So,
Right. And that's what I was trying to get at. It's like, yes, they aren't fully adults yet. They're not free to make their own choices in all aspects of their lives. But there does come an age, and different states have different laws on this, and I don't know all of them, but there does come an age where if a child is saying something, you might want to start asking questions about why that child is saying something. And the court order, we treat the court orders as if they're inviolate scripture, right? As they cannot be changed. The court can change its mind. You know, and I'm sure that video got presented as evidence, and the court maybe even changed his mind in favor of the father because the kid said, no, I don't want to be around mom. And mom is freaking out because that means loss of resources.
Yeah, yeah. She doesn't want women to lose access to the custody and the alimony and the financial gain that they get through divorces.
In that situation, the man should not go to court to enforce anything. He should hire an attorney for the child and get the child to go to court and represent himself. And the attorney represents the child and advocates for his interest and even emancipation. Because once the child is emancipated, the child can make his own decision and support, especially a son. Hey, son, I can't fight this for you, but you can go talk to this attorney and I'll foot the bill.
Well, let's watch this one, guys. You're going to love this one, okay? This is also from here.
What happens if the husband gets fired during the divorce? He says he can't get another job. It might take time to get another job. So I would put the divorce on hold just till he got himself another job. And if he hadn't, I would insist that he do everything that he can in order to get a job. And I'd monitor him. There are also experts who say how much he could make and what jobs are available. In my 40 years, I've seen cases where husbands deliberately quit. There was a case of a FedEx employee who quit his job and he couldn't get a job that was making $85,000 again. He could only make a $40,000 job. The appellate court said you have to go with what he's presently making because that's all he could make now. He's living on less, but she's going to be getting less child support and less alimony. But mostly men threaten to quit their jobs and don't because they don't want to jeopardize their financial stability. What happens if the husband gets fired during the divorce?
Well, you see my comment here, right? Oh my goodness.
oh my God. So a man is not entitled to his salary even if he doesn't have it. Okay.
I view
And I
this
think women see this though. Like I think many women see this and they go, you know what? I don't hate him that much. Like,
oh yeah.
Like I know we didn't work out, but what is this lady trying to promote? That hey, make him get a higher paying job, monitor him to make more money, so you can have it. Like
yeah,
what?
yeah.
How is that moral? Like it's not moral at all.
No,
And of course,
it's
that's
not. It's not moral. But what I think that she is describing something. This might be her telling on herself a bit, because how many stories have we in the manosphere read and listened to where the guy, you know, all of a sudden this girl turns into this raging bitch and she's, you know, you need to get a better job and, you know, and you need to do this and you need to do that. And it's this long list of things. That woman's already planning her divorce. She just needs you to get the better job so she can get more on the way out.
More on the way out. This is how I viewed it too. This is why I say don't get married, gentlemen.
Well, so we know about the silver bullet divorce. These women who are getting divorced are probably talking to lawyers long before us men think they are. And they're probably talking to lawyers like her.
And I can tell you this is true with my experience, but the stream is going long, so I'm not going to tell you another story.
Yeah, we're well over 2
We
hours.
will need to do another show with sBarre. It's fascinating to talk to you. I was even like, oh my goodness, I couldn't even put the words into sentences because my
I
brain was
appreciate being here.
overloaded there.
I want to say one thing about sBarre. I enjoy this because I've asked him some, kind of provoking questions, not mean, but then I ask him a question, and you know what? He takes it in stride, and I give him time to answer, and he hits it out of the park every time. He's
When
a
you're
fun
in
guy to
corporate,
talk to.
I think you appreciate it. When you're in corporate, you got to do that.
So yeah, we can talk
you so
maybe
much.
next time about DEI. I know that that's one of your favorite topics, sBarre. You
And the funny part is, I do the most amount of work in DEI than most women I know. So let's see how they stack up to when I at least present what I do. Let's see. I really want to go make this public and just see what people's reactions is. But that's for next time, guys.
Oh, that'd be good.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it.
Well, let's watch another one of yours. When is the right time to
I
file?
actually have to go,
No,
guys.
no.
But it was a pleasure being here.
Yeah,
I
let's just shut it down here, Elena.
Okay.
Yeah, if you let her go, she will go for hours.
Yeah, there are. I have a lot of videos for you guys in my bullshit folder. You can see there are a lot of videos. Yeah, so yeah, it's good call. Yeah, we'll stop it and we'll do it next time. Yeah, I really enjoyed it today. Thank you everyone for joining us. Tacticus, you were on fire today. Thank you for your comments also. Yeah, thank you, sBarre, for making the time for us. I'm sorry, I'll adjust the thumbnail and everything because I was kind of late yesterday. And yeah, I'll clip this video so that we can, put some separate videos for you guys.
Will Plutarch have his camera on next time? I'd love to see what he's like.
Nope. I never have my camera on any stream.
You never did. Okay.
Yep.
All right.
That's part of my gig.
Yeah.
Okay,
and it's because of my professional life. You can identify me elsewhere, and that can create problems with this kind of content. So
okay.
Yeah. So yeah, guys, please like the live stream if you enjoyed it. Let us know what you think about the topics. We appreciate your feedback. And then go subscribe for the Resurgence of Sanity YouTube channel. They have amazing shows for you there. And they run the live streams on Wednesdays at 5:45 p.m. Pacific. So you can join their discussions. They are diving into, what are you doing, by the way, this Wednesday?
All right. So Wednesday, a longtime viewer of ours asked a question about propaganda and how propaganda spreads online. So it's going to be 2 parts. It'll be a technical dive into how Twitter actually facilitates propaganda, what you can do to stop it on your own profile. There's nothing you can do about other people, but how you can reduce their reach on your profile. And then we're going to expand that into why this matters from the standpoint of, blanking on words. But why
was
it matters
it you
to
talked
society.
about? Consensus. It just escaped me. You had another phrase for it.
Oh, preference
consensus
falsification.
falsification.
It's preference falsification bubbles.
Falsification bubble.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so that's the goal of propaganda, is to push you into a preference falsification bubble for the purpose of demoralizing you. And we'll get into what that means and why that's important for the propagandists. And
Awesome.
so the first half is going to be kind of nuts and bolts of here's what it looks like. Here's how to stop it on your own profile. Here's how to monitor it. Here's how to identify it when it's happening to you and other people. And then we're going to go into a bigger picture of here's why this matters to, society, why it's created the problems you see around us. And yes, there is some light at the end of that tunnel that is not an oncoming freight train. But so that's kind of how Wednesday's going to go. And that's
Awesome.
a request from one of our longtime viewers, Shutai. Shout out to you, man.
Yeah, thank you, Shutai. Very interesting topics. I really enjoy all of your live streams. I'll try to get back to your live stream as soon as I can, right after we are done with my Pilates class that I teach. Oh, guys, join us for interesting activities here. Besides these deep dive conversations that we have with the Resurgence of Sanity guys and occasionally some interesting guests, we also have fitness workouts 6 times a week from Mondays to Fridays and also on Sundays. And then you can join us for my piano practice and request some songs for me to work on. I'm not a professional pianist, but I'll do my work. Okay. I'll do my best. Sorry, I'm messing up the words today too. My brain was really fired today after listening to Shabir. It's just like, oh my goodness. Yeah. Well, thank you, Shabir, for joining us. Remember to please like, share, and subscribe, guys. And we'll see you next time. Okay. Take care, everyone. Enjoy your weekend. Bye.
Elena's Barre, the best place on the internet, the very best by far.